In a vast grassland in Africa, there lived a young lion named Kato. He was strong, brave, and a skilled hunter, but he had one big weakness. Kato always wanted everyone to understand him and like him. One day, after hunting a large deer, Kato was carrying the food back home when he met a group of hyenas. They mocked him and called him a bully and selfish. Kato became angry and tried to explain that he only hunted when he was hungry and that he had done nothing wrong. But the more he explained, the more the hyenas laughed at him. In the end, Kato felt tired and sad because no matter what he said, they did not want to understand him. At that moment, Kato realized that trying to explain himself to those who only wanted to mock him only made him weaker and took away his calm. Feeling upset after being laughed at again and again, Kato went to see an old lion named Jabari, who was respected by everyone for his wisdom and experience. Kato said that he always tried to explain so others would know he was not bad, but the more he spoke, the more they laughed. Jabari calmly asked whether the words of the hyenas could really change who Kato was. When Kato said no, Jabari explained that every time he defended himself against those who wanted to attack him, he was giving them the power to judge him. The next day, Jabari showed the lesson through action. When the hyenas came to insult him, he did not get angry and did not explain anything. He simply stayed silent. Without any reaction, the hyenas lost interest and slowly walked away. Kato began to understand that sometimes silence is the greatest strength. After learning the lesson from Jabari, Kato thought for a long time about everything that had happened. He realized that for so long he had tried to explain himself just to be accepted, but it only made him exhausted. A few days later, when the hyenas came again and called him cruel and selfish, he felt anger rising in his chest like before. He wanted to shout and prove that they were wrong. But this time, he remembered Jabari's words. He stood still, looked straight at the hyenas with calm eyes, and said nothing. The silence confused them, because they did not see the reaction they expected. When their insults received no answer, their confidence slowly faded. Finally, Kato quietly said that they could think whatever they wanted, then turned around and walked away. From that moment, Kato understood that when he no longer needed to prove himself, he became stronger than ever. After many weeks passed, Kato changed completely. Every time the hyenas tried to provoke him, he no longer got angry or tried to explain himself. He either stayed silent or answered calmly, as if their insults no longer affected him. At first, the hyenas kept trying to make him react, but when they saw no response, their teasing felt meaningless. One day, a hyena asked why Kato did not defend himself anymore. Kato gently replied that a lion does not need to care about what hyenas think. He said it without arrogance, but with quiet certainty. From that moment, everything changed. The hyenas stopped bothering him, because there was no fun in attacking someone who did not react. Kato understood that true power does not come from words, but from confidence in who you are. As time passed, Jabari saw Kato walking by with a completely different presence. His head was high, his steps were steady, and he no longer cared about the whispers around him. Jabari smiled and said that Kato had learned the important lesson. Kato admitted that he had wasted too much time trying to make everyone understand him, while the most important thing was to understand himself. He realized that a lion does not need to prove his strength with words, because his actions speak for him. From that day on, Kato lived with calm confidence. When people spoke badly about him, he no longer became angry because their words could not change who he really was. Kato understood that when you no longer feel the need to defend yourself, no one can make you weak. True strength comes from knowing who you are. From the day he understood Jabari's lesson, Kato lived with a completely different mindset. He no longer tried to please everyone, and he no longer felt the need to explain himself whenever someone misunderstood him. He realized that in this world, there will always be people who judge you, dislike you, or speak badly about you, no matter what you do. In the past, he believed he had to make them understand in order to prove he was a good lion. But now he knew that his value did not come from what others said, but from the way he lived each day. He focused on his actions, on becoming a strong, fair, and calm lion. When he stopped fearing criticism, he felt freer than ever. Kato finally understood the most important truth. When you truly know who you are, you do not need to defend yourself to anyone, and that is the real power of a king. In the end, Kato was completely changed by his experiences. He was no longer the lion who worried about what others thought, but a calm and certain one. He understood that no matter how good you are, there will always be people who misunderstand you or try to speak against you. If you keep explaining yourself, you will live according to their judgment instead of your true self. Kato remembered Jabari's words that real strength does not come from winning arguments, but from knowing yourself. When a lion knows his worth, he does not need to prove it to hyenas or anyone else. From then on, Kato lived true to himself, doing what was right without needing approval. Criticism became like the wind passing through the grass, unable to shake him. And that was the moment Kato truly became a king. The story ends with the deep lesson Kato learned after everything he went through. He realized that in life, we cannot control what others think or say about us. No matter how well you live, there will always be someone who dislikes you, misunderstands you, or tries to make you angry. If you keep trying to explain yourself to everyone, you will only become tired and lose your peace. Kato remembered Jabari's words that a real lion does not need to prove that he is a lion. He only needs to live according to his true nature, and his strength will be seen naturally. When you know who you are, praise will not make you proud, and criticism will not break you. From that moment, Kato lived with confidence and calmness, no longer affected by attacks from others. Because when you no longer need to defend yourself, no one can defeat you.